It's Monday, January 13th.
Show. And markets are red and everything's bad and everything's falling from the sky.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of negative vibes in my soul, in the air. I don't know. Everybody's feeling it today. So what are you guys feeling? How you doing? Because I'm cranky.
Oh, I feel fine. I mean, like, I'm the only thing I'm sad about. It has nothing to do with the markets. It just has to do with the potential TikTok ban. Because like markets go up, markets go down. After they go down, they go up again. After they go up, they go down again. So just whatever. But like the TikTok ban is the only thing that gives me negative energy.
Yeah, I understand completely. Alex,
just keep in mind that there is this, and I'm just gonna share people who have been around for more than 5 minutes, literally.
Are you really starting this stream with a screen share? Going to make me grab this phone and make me? Oh my god!
Yep, hell yeah.
Get to work, Evan. Happy Monday.
All right, here we go. Here we go, people. Let's do it. What are you looking at, Alex?
I woke up this morning to a 5 a.m. post from Jim Cramer that says, "Truly hideous opening, total washout coming," and everyone's just thanking him for saving.
Oh,
thanks, Kramer.
Hell yeah, we are so back.
Thank you for putting on the bottom, Kramer.
Absolutely, thank you. Wow, I thought we were.
All right, guys, we're gonna be fine.
Yeah, really, truly, for people who don't know, the reverse Kramer is maybe a more famous indicator than the reverse Watson.
Oh yeah, I mean, certainly.
I mean, there are, how many Twitter profiles are there that are literally called the inverse Kramer, like tracking Kramer and betting against him and trading anti-Kramer?
Did you see that the inverse Kramer and the Nancy Pelosi tracker, like last month, were like going back and forth for who was the most profitable?
Okay, wait a second. I didn't think about tracking those two against each other, and that's amazing.
Yeah, it's hilarious. They're both very profitable.
That's
I don't doubt that at all.
Yeah, didn't I think I saw a figure that Nancy Pelosi outperformed like the best hedge funds by a pretty significant margin last year.
Yeah, not surprised.
She is truly just such an insightful investor, isn't she? Just amazing.
Yeah, just lucky, I guess. Well,
I wish I had that kind of intuition.
What do you think then about before we get to the market? Let's talk about the TikTok ban just briefly to say I'm feeling pretty good about it. We're all feeling a variety of ways, but we're working on other platforms too.
Pissed.
We're not just here on TikTok or on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, wherever you're watching. We are also expanding all the time. The RiseUpMorningShow.com has all of our links. And the one we really care most about that we want you to jump on is discord.gg/riseup. It's a totally free community. Even if you've never used the Discord app before, it's got tutorials, tips and tricks to make it easier. And it is the hub for all of our offerings. Alex, Will, myself, and many of the learners at all levels of experience in our community are there every single day. People from all around the globe. It is like the best place on the internet to ask a crypto question. It's like if you took the knowledge at coinbase.com/learn and just peppered it amongst a bunch of very helpful individuals and found yourself there on a given day. It's an awesome place to ask, what is a trading pair, or how do I buy Bitcoin, or why is my Trezor wallet not working today? Like, if you've asked it, somebody there has probably dealt with it or can help you figure it out. We're learning, growing, and we say rising up together. It is truly an awesome place. All that's missing is you. So join us. The link is on screen here on TikTok. It's here everywhere else. And we're going to be talking about it on TikTok at least all week in anticipation of who knows what. You guys want to speculate a little about it, or you want to go into the market?
I don't see much point in speculating about it because, I mean, like we just don't know, right? We don't know. We weren't in the room. We're not. Also, one thing with the judges, the Supreme Court judges, is there's like a long track history of like people trying to read their body language and like their general mood in the courtroom, and then they end up doing the exact opposite of that. So like, I don't necessarily see much point on it for at least coming from me. But Evan, I know you listened to the whole thing, so yours is the opinion I care most about.
Alex, did you get to listen to it too in review? Because we talked about it.
You guys both listened to the whole thing. Okay.
Because I remember talking to Alex about it, and he was like, well, not going so well. And I actually felt great after the hearing because of the line of questioning they asked. There were two questions in particular that really made me excited. One was, does President Trump have to enforce this law? And the answer was no, the government said. And the second one was, what's the statute of limitations on this law? And I'm pretty sure they said it was 5 years. And if Trump chooses not to enforce this law for 4 years, I mean, we're going to be fine.
No, we won't. We're still hosed.
You think so?
Yeah, because
I
if Trump
am going to be
decides-
the most known, liked, trusted person on the whole goddamn internet if I don't fuck my life up in 5 years.
Well, you still won't have access to TikTok, even if
I'm going to
Trump
be
doesn't
rescuing
enforce it.
Alex's dogs. I'm going to be feeding hungry kids out of my garden. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to be fine. I won't
Well-
be that known, like, trusted. I'll probably screw it up, but you know what I
Well,
mean? Like,
that'd
that's
be-
the
that'd
state
be
velocity
great.
time.
Well, that'd be great. But the thing is that if Trump doesn't enforce the law, the companies that are providing hosting services for TikTok, which is Oracle for the most part, and other service providers are still liable and at risk for being against the law. They can't afford to have that much risk because if there's still an active law, even if it's not enforced, those companies still need to be compliant. The service will still be shut off.
That's the worst news I've heard today.
And now
Well, I
you
did
see
hear
why
some
I'm
other good
still so
news.
sad.
But I did hear some other good news in terms of they asked about the distinction between ByteDance and other companies. They said several times, especially some of the conservative justices, about not thinking that the first case, I always separate it from the creators and the algorithm thing, which one is which, but the first case, I think it's the algorithm one, was not that compelling to them. So I don't know. I'm hopeful. Alex, you were bearish though.
Can't hear you.
That is the most helpful answer you've given on a talk show.
Honestly, that is the rudest thing you've ever said to me.
No,
Mhm.
I'm really just mad this morning. I'm sorry. I don't know why.
Well, it's okay.
It's not you guys.
No,
I love
I'm
you guys.
I'm super bearish because the Supreme Court sucks. I have no faith in them. They are unequivocally unrepresentative of the will of the people, as is Congress that passed the law in the first place. There's a monstrous list of Congress people who voted in favor of banning TikTok, who not only are still posting to this day, but ran their campaigns on this platform, which is incredible and super on brand for United States Congress. So the fact that, one, there is a pretty significantly sized organic movement just shit posting every single one of their accounts into oblivion, that's entertaining. If there was any like proof of that methodology ever working, Ted Cruz would have resigned a long time ago, because I don't think that man has ever received a positive comment on a single post
I don't
that
think
anyone
so.
on his team has ever put on anything on social media ever. But I don't know, the questioning, you try not to read too much into it because Supreme Court hearings are not the same as normal court hearings. It's info gathering while they then go deliberate. And so like asking a question like, does Trump have to enforce this? They need to cover their bases so that they know what to say or what to think when they hear this again in the future. It's really hard to say. Like someone was saying in the comments, it's funny that the second this happened, there's a bunch of legal experts that have popped out of the woodwork, which is true. Anytime any event happens, a bunch of TikTok experts pop up out of the ground overnight. But no, it made me bearish to hear questions that demonstrated that they don't appreciate why we care about this platform specifically compared to other social media. And the fact that like our wills and desires will never win out against corporate interest. And that's what's driving the push to ban the platform, is lobbying from competitors getting squashed routinely, and people who stand to directly suffer from the spread of information through a platform like this. Because way too many issues have been pointed out about why this makes no sense. They even said it in the hearing. And if there's precedent, you should be able to, judge based off of that. And so if you can open a conversation by saying, why is there no interest in Temu, and have it just go straight on from that without any like address or any like, oh, hey, interesting point. What do you mean? Blah, 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 whatever. All the other data breaches on every other major website, whatever. And then just cherry on top, Alito saying, well, I don't get it. If someone told me I couldn't wear that one t-shirt anymore, I would just go get a new t-shirt. Brilliant, dipshit. Like, why
That's
didn't I
not
think
what
of
I
that?
heard him to say at all. I heard him to ask that question, but the answer I thought was very helpful. And I will tell you this, I forgot this. Polymarket,
I
when the
envy your
hearing started,
optimism.
the odds that they would delay the TikTok ban went from about 50% down to 32% and
hold
are
on.
now
Let's-
currently sitting at 37%.
That's fantastic.
Damn.
Can we pivot really quick to address Polymarket? Because maybe I'm just the odd
Let's
one
do
out,
it,
and maybe
dude.
I don't have enough information. Why does anyone give a shit what Polymarket says? It's an out of United States betting market. So wouldn't it make sense that more positions on a risky betting platform would be taken against the likely outcome to increase your payout if you win?
No. The
Wait.
if you're betting on anything, you want to it's a market. It's like the price of Bitcoin.
I know
Imagine,
what it
Alex,
is.
but think about it this way. For people, I'm talking to everybody too. You might have the same question at home. You can go out and make any prediction anywhere on Polymarket, and what it sounds like you're saying is, wouldn't you make in every case the prediction that is not the one that is expected in order to make the most money? Am I understanding that correctly?
Not quite.
Okay.
I don't understand this, like the emergence of it as like a key indicator is
Well, it's
weird
'cause
to me.
It's just because it's been really accurate.
Well, and
That's
do you know
why.
why it's accurate?
Ugh.
This is kind of part of my wanting to talk about it, because I haven't paid much attention. It's just like, is it true that United States citizens can't bet on this platform?
It's true that they are not allowed to access it the way they're not allowed to access TikTok, but people with a VPN have been doing it all the time.
Right.
And
Okay. So
they're pretty confident that though they can't prove it, there are probably a lot of US
Well,
users based on Twitter
listen.
activity and other things.
at the end of the day, Evan, I envy your relentless optimism, and
Well, that's informed by fact check yourself, brother. You know what I mean? That's not optimism. There are people who are from the US who say, I use Polymarket. And there
No,
seem to be a lot of them.
I'm talking in general about
Oh.
all of it, about
Yeah.
TikTok and whatever. Like, I hope that we keep it. You know, I've been struggling lately to juggle between all the people who are like, who gives a shit? It's just dance videos, to like, yeah, well, it's also 4 years of very hard work that is about to be flushed down the toilet. And I don't know why we're all suddenly like so gung ho to put faith in our government to like step in and do something for all of our benefit. Because
Well, I
when
don't know
have they
about
done
that, but I do know about price being an effective predictor of something. Like in a well-designed market, a market that works properly. This is why I brought the Bitcoin analogy into it. Price often becomes the most accurate measure for the valuation of an asset. Like in a well-designed, well-functioning market, in a world where we use dollars and cents, even an asset like is TikTok going to ban Polymarket? When you make it a betting market and you open it to, obviously it's not open to the yes, but the more people you open to, the wisdom of the crowd in some scenarios can be a really helpful leading indicator of what is about to happen. And it can often be a leading indicator if the market is designed efficiently, well in advance of something like, I'm a legal expert and a lawyer, and I published my opinion piece 5 minutes after the court, hearing got done. Even if it's just regular people.
So I just had a new thought. The TikTok ban is good for Bitcoin. Hear me out.
Okay.
hear me out.
Okay.
All right.
Oh
So the big problem as to why markets are sliding is that the U.S. economy has been strong. The U.S. economy being strong, while inflation goes up, means that inflation is probably going to go up higher, because if people have money, they spend it. If they're spending it, demand is going up. Demand is going up. The price of assets is going up. Henceforth, therefore, round table, inflation is getting worse, right? Which is a huge problem because interest rates can't get cut. They might even need to be hiked. That spelled disaster for asset markets. Now, with that in mind, TikTok adds, $80 billion to the US GDP or something like that. Maybe it's $35 billion. Either way, it's a lot of billions. A lot of people, make a lot of income, side income from TikTok. A lot of people make their primary income from TikTok. If TikTok is banned in the US and all that money dries up, that means that the US labor market weakens. That means that people have less money. That means there's less money to spend, which means demand comes down, which means inflation comes down, which means interest rates can keep getting cut, which means Bitcoin can start going up again. Woo!
This is
There
a
we
gross
go,
misrepresentation of the facts.
Honestly, I'm not sad about it.
You know what?
I'm
Ban
not
ban
mad about
every social media app, take money away from every content creator, and let Bitcoin go up.
I think it probably could work.
And then we'll create a physical mailing list for members of the Discord.
A physical mailing list. No, will personally hand deliver your letters. You'll get a letter from us one day
I
a
will
week. It'll
lick
be him,
the
me.
shit out of those stamps in envelopes, guys. You're gonna want to keep those.
Sounds
Why
great.
is that? Why is that sound on the soundboard 10 times louder than every other sound?
Is it louder than every other sound?
It is. It is
Maybe it's
pretty
also
aggressive.
just so
Let me-
piercing.
Let me get a test. That one just sounds less aggressive and more soothing.
Well, that one is much more soothing.
Much more soothing. The other one is nails.
Even
against
more
the
loud
brain.
than that?
It's hard to say. It's also just such
It's
a
the pitch.
grating, awful sound that
It is.
I'll go back to. I'll use it. I'll remember that and use it sparingly. I'll turn the volume down before I dolphin pill your ears.
Meanwhile,
Sorry.
Alex, physical pain.
Sorry, man. I'll be judicious with it.
Status
So
match.
Dolphin
that was a good
deserves its
transition.
spot on the board.
that was a good transition to one, hopefully some dolphins in the chat, but two, markets. Everybody, I think, in our Discord, in my comments, is feeling pretty down. It seems like, but you mentioned, Will, you're not feeling that down. I, as down and salty as I just generally am this morning, am not that sad about the markets. And Alex, I know you're not worried about it. So what's going on? What kind of Kool-Aid are we drinking? Who wants to talk about it?
I mean,
Well,
I feel like it's just experience in the market. Also, I'm seeing the red and I'm not panicking because if I do think we're gonna have like real lower lows, you know, I would sell some of my crypto into a relief rally. The other thing that's soothing me is the idea that the full moon will save Bitcoin today. Which, if it does, I promise, if the full moon today saves Bitcoin and TikTok doesn't get banned, every now and again we'll do a lunar-based trading chart update on the channel.
But I think some people are wondering when you say sell into strength, the common question I hear is, what if that takes 4 more years?
I mean, there's still a bunch of good things happening for Bitcoin over the next number of months, you know? That gives me calm. You know, the United States is still supposed to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Several states, and more to come this year, are introducing legislation to create their own strategic Bitcoin reserves. We know there are other nation states buying Bitcoin, but they haven't officially announced it yet. The ETFs have been historic in the amount of Bitcoin that they have bought. They've had more volume than gold, and it took less than a year for that to happen.
Yeah.
Gold's been around for 20 years or so. And so like the writing is on the board for me for Bitcoin for 2025. There are going to be some really good things that are going to happen. There are going to be more rallies. And so long as we stave off like real recession, you know, there's going to be a new high in Bitcoin, and a lot of the altcoins we have are going to make new highs, in my personal opinion. And so like I feel fine. You know, I see too many good things on the board happening. And then also when I look at a lot of the causes of inflation right now, which are causing a lot of the fears, it's housing and food. Food prices are going up in large part due to a large breakout of avian flu, which is causing chicken and egg prices to dramatically skyrocket in the US. And that once that gets taken care of, that's an immediate alleviation on food inflation. Also for housing, it's mortgage rates. Mortgage rates have been on the rise because they're expecting there to be more inflation, in large part due to Trump's tariff strategy. But if Trump's tariff strategy ends up being reduced in its actual application, then mortgage rates would expect to actually start to drop.
Right.
And that would bring housing inflation down too. And oil's already going down also. So like I see things that could stop inflation from rising, that could happen in the next few months or so. I see good things happening for Bitcoin moving into 2025 from an adoption standpoint. And I see blue skies in a part of the sky that we're not at yet, but you know, further down. And
Is that
you
a
know,
pitch for the social network Blue Sky?
oh, I guess, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how you feel about Blue Sky, but yeah. So anyway, so that's how I feel. And then also, I've just done this. I've been on this ride a number of times, so I'm here. I've done
And
it.
it
I've
usually
done the
feels
ups
like
and
this,
downs.
doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels like this. It always feels like this. It's just like the reasons change.
Yeah. Why then is my favorite asset, insert ticker here, tanking so hard?
Well, if Bitcoin goes down, your altcoins go down harder. I see the question, why is Aerodrome tanking so hard? Aerodrome will fall harder than other cryptocurrencies because it has a very inflationary supply that makes the token heavier, if you will, than others, and it can fall harder as a result.
Yeah. So we're expecting some sort of rally as long as the macro picture remains bullish. If I was a betting man, I would say part of the uncertainty caused by the changing regime in the US, a lot of other macro factors that are short term, when resolved, will help usher in what I expect will be probably one of the final legs of this bull run. But I think the thing you need to be ready to do all the time is pivot, to take in good information, have conviction in the information, continue to learn more. And if it goes up, have a plan. And if it goes down, have a plan. Which makes me think of this comment. Alex, I saw you replied to this about leveraging. I want to go ahead and read this, and then I would like to speak to this person because I suspect they're not alone, but I think a lot of people are ashamed to talk about this kind of thing. It says, all my leveraged longs are 25 to 35% away from liquidation, which means this person has taken some bets and they've put up their money, and there's a possibility they could lose it very soon. I'm down almost 40% from my initial capital. Should I sell everything now? And the alternative would be they can spend more money to keep these bets alive and hope that the market will change direction. Playing with leverage, if you don't know, is very risky because you are borrowing someone else's money to make your bet, and you're putting up collateral for it. With any bet, you can lose, but with leverage, you can just stand to lose more fast, more quickly, kind of thing. Alex, you had commented on it. Did you want to give a response to this commenter or anybody who's dealing with leverage right now and feeling a little uncertain?
I have a hard time talking like specifically about leverage trading just because I've never done it, and I honestly cannot imagine that I ever will because it just seems awful to me.
Yeah, I'll never touch it.
So I have a hard time with that because my annoying non-answer would be, on one hand, I totally understand the logic of like cutting a loss and, you know, reestablishing a position at a lower point. But I just know from years and years of personal experience that psychologically, once you get into that game, you pretty much just play the entire thing with your hands tied behind your back. And you are so much more likely to screw it up, even worse, when you start trying to play that. Like, you know, chasing green candles and catching falling knives, right? Like if you don't have a plan before the market makes a big move, and then you try to plan on the fly while the market is making a big move that no one knows the outcome of, you're increasing the odds that you're going to get hosed. And I've been saying this a lot lately because it's wild to me that we don't talk about it this way. Cryptocurrency investing on its face is venture style investing.
Yeah, I heard you describe that before. It's perfect.
I love everybody watching this dearly so much, and I'm including myself in this. We're not venture style investors. Like, how many accredited investors are currently watching that could pipe up and tell me that actually?
Yeah, or people who've participated in a safe or closed a round or something like that.
Running a venture firm of some sort, right? Like
literally been on the cap table.
It's okay. So I would hazard a guess, JPill, if you're not trolling me right now, that there's like maybe a small handful. But the overwhelming majority of people, especially those super concerned about market moves right now, you're not venture investors. And you're having, you know, you're in the most volatile asset class the world has ever seen, in the most ambitious industry the world has seen in a very long time. And it's like, I said this the other day, imagine going to Shark Tank with this as a pitch, right? Like, hey, what's your plan? Yeah, my startup company is aiming to disrupt money and the internet at the same time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
Your plan is what? And it's like, okay, well, you must have the most stacked team of all time. It's like, no. It's like a few guys that I met on Twitter last year.
Yeah, this
one of
kid
them,
worked at
I don't know
Bitcoin
his name.
Magazine when he was 16.
It's like, oh, okay, well, so they're like what, cybersecurity and tech experts and PhD? No, actually, I don't know that any of them can read that well. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. When you start, and I'm not even being facetious, like I'm describing major cryptocurrency projects that are being run by Twitter friends with no cybersecurity or fintech experience. So when you strip all that back, what are we really doing here, right? We're trying to capitalize on what might be the greatest financial opportunity of our lifetime, what probably is, but what also brings with it a tremendous amount of risk. And you cannot have one without the other. Like, if anyone tells you that you can get rich quick without unbelievable risk and a hearty dose of luck, they're lying to you. So, you know, it's hard because we see examples of people making it huge in crypto with very little input. We see it on social media, and that gets magnified. So I guess,
can we go back to the original question for our friend about what should I do?
Right, but that's what I'm saying. And Evan, I know you know this. That is an impossible question to answer. One, I don't know anything about you. I don't know if you need that money next week. I don't know if you're actually investing wisely and using only money you can afford to lose. I don't know if you are, lying to people in your family about your money situation. I don't know if you've got it made so much that if you lost all of this, it wouldn't even really register and you're just kind of curious. Like, that is an impossible question to answer to anyone. And like, I'll keep screaming this into the void until they kick me off of every platform. No one on social media can answer those questions for you. The best thing that a good teacher can do is teach you how to answer the question for yourself. So I don't know. Like, what do you want me? Okay, now this was the perfect time. Here's the comment. Shut up and answer the question. Annoying and not helpful. All right, Pipsqueak, listen to me. I need you to put on your big boy pants for a second. What do you want me to say? I'm talking specifically to you, Black
Well,
Sheep.
let's not derail the show by talking specifically to this
hold
person,
on.
because I'm telling you, there are people scrolling in for the first time who are seeing you say this
That's
and may
fantastic.
think you, but it's going to take a long time, and the payoff isn't going to be as great as you think. As your broadcast friend, I'll let you go there. But in the meantime, go ahead.
As the person who watched you talk to DGen Derek for hours on a live stream.
Yeah, but DJ and Derek could talk back. There was not a lagging silence while two very beautiful men sat on the other side of the screen from you.
Give me 2 seconds.
Look at
here.
Will down here. He's crying.
This is the nightcap.
Mustache.
This is the nightcap on my comment here. Yeah, okay, you're right. Okay, perfect. Here's the perfect follow-up. They said take the loss or keep the position. You're right. Those are the options. I will double, triple, quadruple down and say I couldn't possibly tell you which one of those two is the right one for you. I couldn't possibly. And Evan, to your point, if you are just scrolling in and the first thing you hear me say is that we can't give you specific financial instructions, fantastic. That's probably the single best.
That's probably the
That's
best.
probably the best thing. That's
that
fair.
you could
That's
hear.
very fair.
If you're here looking for me just to hold your hand and tell you, sell that, buy this, do this, wait this long, get this percentage gain, I can't do it. Neither can Will, neither can Evan, and anyone on social media who says that they can do that for you is lying to you. Yeah. Full stop. Wrap the show. Cut. Drop the curtain. Like, that's it. So no, I can't answer the question. And Black Sheep, if that doesn't work for you, then there's a million other TikTokers who will spoon feed you a hearty dose of bullshit and tell you exactly what you should do with your money, and bon voyage, enjoy getting hosed. But other than that, like...
But for somebody who wants to go the next step and learn, who may be overwhelmed by, a sense of deep anxiety, etc., I think what that person is looking for is just the next actionable step that they can take from somebody like you who may not have been there because you haven't bet with leverage, but we've seen it before, and we understand that that's probably an indicator that you're overinvested. you should really take this as a learning experience. And especially if you're in a position that you can't recover from already, it's probably not a good idea to put more capital on the line in the hopes that something you can't control will change in the future. You probably shouldn't go borrow more money from your friends. You probably shouldn't start lying to your job. You probably should do your best to make yourself feel okay today, take a shower, eat some food, and then make sure you're going to be okay tomorrow. And then you can triage the situation to figure out, how can I prevent this from ever happening again? And the first thing I would say is, don't play with leverage that way next time. Use that as an indicator that maybe this is not a very good tool for you. And the sooner you accept what is, the faster you'll be able to do something about it, whether that's making money to pay back the family and friends that you borrowed from, whether that's learn about the market in order to succeed in the future. That's the first step, though, is accepting this position. Don't go in on it harder. If it's already making you feel risky, that's a sign you need to listen to.
I heard you say if it's making you feel frisky, and I was like, wait a second. I was like, wait a
Damn
minute.
right I did. No.
You should listen to that. You should listen to that.
You
small
should
voice
listen
in the
to
back of
that.
your head.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah,
Evan,
I don't
this
mean
is-
I want you to advise them. I just mean, like, they're looking
Yeah.
for the next step. We don't know what their situation is. They could be in a really dark place right now, and we have the opportunity to speak some help into that.
in that case, because you and I filmed the gut check, it's probably not a bad idea to refresh that video with all three of us, because it would be, I would like to get Will's take on that one and update it a little bit. Plus it's topical. I say the same thing. Every time the market drops like this, you gut check, and what you're feeling will tell you how to handle it next time. So, if you're in that position where you're like, oh my God, the sky is falling, this is terrible, you're over leveraged, and you don't do that again. That is financial advice. So, I don't think, I say all the time too, like, if you're looking for the specific move, like if you've made the decision to cut a position at a loss, and Will, I don't know if you and I have ever talked about this. I'm curious if you have a similar, or like what you do in this situation, because I'm sure you've done something like this. If I have like a couple different cryptos or stocks or positions of an investment of some sort, and they both crater, and I'm doing my gut check, and I'm like, okay, how much do I really believe in this thing?
Yep.
Now I'm at the position where every time that happens, I'm so, like, my portfolio is so small, and I've thought about it so hard, and it's been so long that I'm like, okay, I don't even notice. The only thought this morning as I'm making coffee was like, okay, want to buy today or tomorrow, or like a little bit now, a little bit later, like whatever. I look at two positions that are both down, let's say 15% on the week, and I realize that I have like really waning conviction in B, but I still feel really comfortable about A. I might roll B into A, take the loss on B, expand the position on A while they're both at a discount, and make myself feel better about now what I'm holding. If we continue to go down farther, cool. I still have my stronger convicted asset, and I now no longer have to be stressed about the one that was starting to give me the heebie-jeebies when I looked at it.
Yeah, it's a good way to lighten the load for that gut check, if you will.
Right.
I just always have a hard time selling a position like in red. Like if I would do that, it would be into a relief rally. Like if I was like, I still see lower lows coming. I've had a few days of green happen. I am still thinking that lower lows are coming, so I believe this is a relief rally. So I'm going to sell some of this position in this relief rally to de-risk and reevaluate the market. That's the position I'm more so in. I'm more so in, it's like, hey, if I'm going to sell to alleviate my gut check, I'm going to sell to put into a stable coin and then continue to reevaluate the market. I'm going to try to do that into a relief rally and then look for confirmation of a low, because then I'm just taking one position that I think is going to go lower and putting it into a position that I also think is going to go lower. And then if that plays out, then great, or not great in that instance. But if I sell into a stable coin to alleviate that gut check, that punch to my sternum, and what I think is going to happen, lower lows happen, I then have capital to then buy into the project that I feel more confident in. That's more so what I would do. And you do, of course, the risk there is you sell in the relief rally, but the relief rally is not a relief rally, it's the real rally. Right? But then you get to evaluate the market still and wait for another high or low, a confirmation that, hey, we are moving forward again. You buy into some red candles, and you managed your gut check. You put yourself in a healthier emotional position. You bought a local bottom, and you bought into the asset that you believe more so in. So those are the two scenarios that I find myself doing, as opposed to just like handling my gut check from selling from asset A that I'm less sure about into asset B that I'm more sure about immediately. That's what makes me more comfortable.
I like that. I think a lot of people are uncomfortable just letting something go because they're afraid of missing the upside potential. Alex,
Yeah,
I
get brother. That, but I was just gonna say, like, there's upside potential in all of these things, right? So it's and that's another thing too that is this is for when markets are really green, but we all experience this where it's like your coin wasn't going up, but you saw other coins going up. It's just like the flow of capital, and then eventually it will land into your honeypot of coins that you own, and then you'll pump too. So it's about being patient for when things pump. But there was a point I was going to end on, and I just lost it. So never mind.
I'm sorry, brother.
There it goes.
It'll come to you.
It'll come back.
I put this comment up just about so for those of you on TikTok, the question is, would you look at this as a good time to dollar cost average for long-term investing looking 1 year out from now? So there's a couple things that I really like.
That's hard to answer.
It is hard to answer, but there's a couple things that I like about at least where the question is heading, right? We're starting to get more information along with the question. So the first thing I would say is you got to establish your risk and you got to establish your time horizon. So if we're looking at a year, that's really hard. I also do want to point out, and I swear to God, Scott, I'm not picking on you. It's just funny. Isn't it wild that when we in crypto say long-term investing, we're talking about sub 1 year timeframes? Because like long-term investing in the S&P is 45 years. Like,
yeah, exactly.
People are investing for retirement 30 to 50 years from now. Starting, many people are in many different stages of that journey. Maybe you're only a year away, but my point is that no one like buys the S&P to like flip it next week,
Yeah.
Or
only
maybe
in crypto.
Someone does. Maybe someone does. I don't know. There's some S&P swing traders out there, but so in that sense, like I agree with what you said in response, Evan, that like 8 to 12 months that's so tough.
That is tough.
There are so many unknowns right now that like. So in perspective, the reason I don't ape into a whole bunch of different stuff when the market like has no clue what it's doing is because I know that 8 months from now, if Bitcoin is less than it is now, I'm still going to feel okay about that. And if it's way more than it is now, I will have been prepared for that. And all I know is that like 5, 10, 15 years from now, it's going to be more than it is today. So when you're like, there's still so many unknowns. Dollar cost averaging now could be a good move for you if you have the opportunity to lower your cost basis of something that you have long-term conviction in and you're okay to be flexible on the timeline. But I still 100% absolutely unequivocally would not be putting in money that you need in the next year into these assets just because we don't know. There's so many unknowns with incoming economic policy that there's just a lot.
Do you want to know what is known, though?
Tell me why.
There is a constant that has been consistently.
No, constantly feels like the one.
Almost 2 years. And this consistency comes from Michael Saylor. They acquired 2,530 Bitcoin for $243 million at a price of $95,972 per Bitcoin. On January 12th, yesterday. Their average position, also they've acquired Bitcoin for $28.2 billion. Oh no, sorry. Their 450,000 Bitcoin was acquired for $28.2 billion at an average price of $62,691 per Bitcoin. Now we just need I put out a tweet. We need 38 more Michael Saylors. Or we need him to do this 38 more times today.
That's interesting because I haven't heard Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy's average for a minute. The last time I heard the average was 37, and then I remember when it bumped up 30s. To 42. I'm trying to think what my average is at this, but I do keep.
My average is probably. Oh, I'd be inclined. I'd really like to figure that out. Actually, I'm going to write that down. Find my
That's
Bitcoin
kinda-
average.
I think I want to say that mine is about 55. But I know that it's gone up because I've continued to put like, my little small measured amounts in regularly as I now start to get all of those things going again. And obviously right now we're significantly higher than my average. My ETH average also is up. Because it was like last
Dang,
bull
everybody
run.
knows their averages like the back of their hand. You see all these comments rolling in, and I'm just like, I don't know.
The fact that all of you know your averages is my love language.
Just without looking,
Yeah,
I am
that is
so
my love
proud.
language.
I'm
So
seriously so
volume.
proud.
This is absolutely wonderful. My
I will
ETH average
absolutely die on this hill.
was about 600 for most of last bull run, because it was like sub 100, and then I added a bunch at like $900 ETH, and then again at like $1,500 ETH,
Wow.
and now I want to say that my ETH average is more like 14 or 1,500 overall, and those are like the biggest positions. Solana average is like probably in the 80s. It's probably 80 or 90 if I had to guess. And that's
I'll
basically
have
it.
to look it up. I have absolutely no idea. Really quick, I want to shout out Mia, who has become, so far as I know, the official first live comment on LinkedIn. So if you're watching on LinkedIn, Mia has won the contest. So thank you very much, Mia, for being the first live comment on LinkedIn.
Oh,
We're so
that's so
glad you're here. And we do want you guys to follow us on every platform where you live. It helps the show. It's totally free. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram under Will's banner. We're on Twitter mostly under Alex's banner. We're on Facebook under my banner, but we have pages on all those places too. The Rise Up Morning Show, or Rise Up is what you look for. And you can find all the links at theriseupmorningshow.com. And I just think it's such a risky time to open a position. There's a lot of stuff I buy when it's down like this, but if somebody's looking, like you said, to cash out in 8 to 12 months, Scott's talking about here, I have no crystal ball. I do have a crypto themed 8-ball that says buy the dip, but I feel like it's way too close to what I think is going to be a cycle top. And I'm personally expecting that things will probably be lower by then as more like macroeconomic news turns a little bearish. I'm not expecting good things out of the administration's policies re the economy personally. And I think some of those things are going to come home to roost, but I'm definitely expecting a relief rally. I think there are lots of reasons, like Will pointed out, to believe that we're not done yet. So I think if you're dollar cost averaging to bring your positions, you already hold down, it's always a good time to do that. But it may be, if it was me and I was watching and just wanted to learn, I might consider starting, buying a little bit of Bitcoin every day, using some stable coins, farming them for interest, or I don't know, throwing a small Hail Mary just to feel good about it. But you're early. You're so early to crypto, and there's lots of time for this thing, but it's rough right now.
This feels like an appropriate time just to give a quick shout out to Evan, our illustrious and beautiful host, and say that just for the price of a cup of coffee every other week, you can help improve this man's internet connection.
Did I blip?
Yeah, you're blipping a bit.
Yours it's fighting for its life over there this morning, man. And all I can think is all I want for next Christmas is to get you a better internet connection.
I can't believe it. I would love that, but that's what I have to say to my internet provider. Sorry, guys.
So I actually wanted to just give a quick shout out to our friend Jonathan, who I don't know if he usually streams a little bit later in the day, but Jonathan hosts a finance focused live here on TikTok every now and then, and not crypto focused at all, very like traditionally focused. And actually the last panel that I was just a guest on over the weekend had a lot of like insurance brokers and more traditional finance people.
Yeah, tell me about that, because Kim said she saw you, and I was like, Alex is live? I missed it.
Yeah, it was great. I did not really know what to expect. Jonathan said that he's sure there was going to be some questions and it would be helpful. And then the entire live just ended up being about crypto. And it was great because I was literally on a panel of like 3 finance people who are all super skeptical. And it was such a good conversation. I'm so bullish on how it went. We talked about all this stuff. I mean, you guys have heard me say this stuff all the time. You know, this is super risky. You got to acknowledge the risk. Talked about like my 4 buckets of what cryptos are, from most conservative to least conservative. You know, stable coins, blue chips, general crypto, gambles, and just about, I mean, like, why Bitcoin? Why does it matter? The fact that by the end of the conversation, they were pretty much all jacked on Ethereum as an idea. And the, you know, hearing it explained in a different way, not being screamed at by some super toxic maximalist crypto bro kind of personality, and, you know, acknowledging like the skepticism and encouraging it was really good. I had a very good time, and I would definitely, I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Do you know, are they going to post it again? Like, is it on YouTube, or are they hosting another live?
I'll have to text him and see. I would love for him to get that recording, because there was a lot of really good stuff in there. I'll text him and see.
You know, one thing I think we need to talk about too, and I'm curious to get your guys' takes on this, is January 20th.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the comment section of my videos are like, well, I think markets get a green candle on Jan 20. And January 20th, for those of you who don't know, is when Trump is inaugurated as president.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to get your guys' take on it, because I talked about it in a video today. I was like, it's only going to get a green candle if Trump literally comes out and says, hey, here's an executive order, which I'm not sure if he can or can't do, but hey, here's an executive order. We're going to take the 150,000 Bitcoin or so that we have, and we're going to not sell it anymore, and we're going to officially make the strategic Bitcoin reserve. If that comes out, yeah, Jan 20, totally green candle day. But otherwise, like, he has to do that thing. I feel like Jan 20, him becoming president, isn't just gonna make the markets green. I think. I mean, maybe it will. You know, maybe people are just excited. Oh, it's time. Finally, the Bitcoin president's in, and now it's all good time. You know, maybe. But there isn't like a good reason for it, right? You don't need a good reason for markets to do what it's gonna do. I recognize that. But looking at Jan 20 and trying to like attach reason to why it would make the market go up, there needs to be something that happens. There needs to be that strategic Bitcoin reserve that happens. But I'm curious to see, or to get your guys' opinion on what you think the markets may or may not do on that date.
Yeah, I think I mostly agree with you, Will, that I don't know that I would say it has to be the reserve. The thing that I can tell you what I'm personally looking for would just be anything that transitions us from what we have right now, which is a bunch of platitudes, to something actionable. And I think the reserve makes sense because it's probably the closest to being, you know, actionable. But there's legislation in Congress, or that could be easily brought up, that would also make me feel a lot better.
Yeah. Where if they just talk about, I see someone mention like Cynthia Lummis's bill, because that's the big one. That's the one where it's like the United States will buy up to 1 million Bitcoin, which at this point is roughly
that's the most bullish thing on the table, period, at all for me, macro picture right now, personally, followed maybe by, I don't know, the appointment at large of Paul Atkins to the SEC.
That's the other thing that I was going to say. If we just, I think, and I feel like this is a little bit more of a safe bet, just because, you know, who knows what Trump's going to do, right? Like, he's chaotic and unpredictable. But with the incoming chair, I think that if we see like a deliberate and specific declaration of a new era, that would make a bigger difference, I think, than even just like another couple bull posts from the administration itself. So that's what I'm looking for. And two, just that, you know, Will, I'm curious, because I do not know historically. I would be hazarding a guess. But, you know, if we know that markets hate uncertainty, and right now we're not sure, you know, like what kind of last minute moves are going to come out of the Biden administration as they leave, and then what sort of like immediate moves will the incoming administration make? Because one thing we do know from history is typically new presidencies open with a lot of executive action to like set the table and undo things that made them angry and blah 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 blah. But I don't know, like historically, Will, do you know, is it a thing where, you know, regardless, just the fact that, okay, now we at least know like what the administration is and like the general principle that we can like, that it settles down a little bit? Because I feel like right now there's just so much unknown.
Yeah, I don't know what the
chaotic.
I don't know what the historical reactions market-wise are to the uncertainty of policies then being kind of snuffed out because day one happens and a slew of executive orders go through. I'm not sure without looking at the charts and lining them up to. I'd also have to. It's tough to research that because you also have to find out what was the vibe of the market at the time, and what were the policies that people were worried about or hoping for. You know, it's so that'd take a lot of research. I'm not sure. All I know is that markets do not like uncertainty, and even though Trump has said he's going to do X, Y, Z, politicians say they're going to do X, Y, Z, and end up doing A, B, C once they're in office and power. So like there's still a certain amount of the markets are like not entirely convinced yet. So they want to see like the proof is in the pudding. So if Trump comes in, does an executive order, say strategic Bitcoin reserve, and then, you know, a cherry on top would be, and we'll take a look at Cynthia Lummis's bill too. That'd be a wonderful thing for him to say. You know, then the markets are like, oh, we're more sure. Even if he doesn't say the thing about Lummis's bill, just the fact that there is now a strategic Bitcoin reserve, markets are then, oh yeah, we got confidence now that like Bitcoin's going to become a big nation state level thing, and then, you know, markets would like that. So
well, and
you know,
and two, we're gonna kind of ring in the beginning of that whole thing with the 29th of January, the After Dark episode. Dennis Porter's coming back.
So nice.
We'll get to talk to Dennis. Which I'm very excited for that specific time because it's like immediately post inauguration. So if there is like a kickoff statement or like an opening, move or declaration from Paul Atkins, something like that, I think that will be just a really interesting time to get his perspective. Plus, he's like the single most behind the scenes person in the Bitcoin policy arena right now. That I mean, his insight is stupid valuable.
Ludicrous. Really, truly.
I think the most bullish thing that Paul Atkins can do for crypto is just allowing the staking to be turned on for the Ethereum ETF. I think that's the single most bullish thing Paul Atkins could do. And that would be the real altcoin season, because then you would start to see inflows come into Ethereum that would start to rival Bitcoin.
Haven't we seen, Will, didn't you share, haven't we seen actually some sort of indication from Commissioner Peirce that was actually on the table?
Yeah, like a soft
more serious
implication.
way.
That's another bullish piece of news for sure.
Where was that from? You remember?
I had a bit of AI pull that from an interview.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, I forget.
Yeah, I agree with you, dude. I think that like I have a hard time thinking of single moves that would make a bigger impact than that. Because look at, I mean, you know better than both of us, but current inflows and current standing, like I can't even imagine like what that would do for it.
I bet you start seeing Ethereum have, you know, 300, 400, 500, $600 million days for inflows, which to put into context for those of you who don't know, Ethereum inflows are amazing if they're at like 150 million. Like that's like an amazing day for Ethereum. For Bitcoin, it's like an okay day if it has 250 million dollars of inflows. Like it's nice, but like it's like par for you know, when things are doing well. But so like that's hopefully a little bit of context.
Yeah, no, I mean, it just makes so much sense. And plus, I think that it would be a big deal just because when I think about something that could help the mass draw a distinction between the two assets that are Bitcoin and Ethereum, as we talk about the king and queen or whatever of the industry. That was a conversation that came up, I thought, really helpfully on that live with Jonathan was, you know, okay, well, why would I do one and not the other? And my answer was like, well, you don't have to do both. In my personal opinion, if you are looking at this from a comparative standpoint and you've never been interested in investing in gold before, maybe Bitcoin really doesn't tickle you in the right place. But Ethereum is like a much different animal. I'm going to keep saying that every opportunity I get because it makes Evan giggle every single time.
Yeah, it's nice.
But you know what I mean, though. Like,
Mhm.
because someone was asking, well, like, I don't really get Bitcoin because, do you really think people are going to use it to buy their coffee? And I was like, no, I really, truly don't. At least not
Absolutely
in the way
not.
that it runs now, because it's not practical. But I've never heard someone say I would never invest in gold because I can't take my gold bar to, Starbucks and shave off a sliver of it and get a cup of coffee.
Let me get my chisel.
Right, and like that's not.
Yeah.
I feel like Will would do that if his mustache evolved just a little more. I feel like Will would actually carry a tiny piece of gold in the tiny.
Oh
chisel and
yeah,
go with this
that'd
tiny
be
espresso
wonderful.
mug.
Just like real prospectory.
I'm actually
Unfortunately,
not convinced that Will doesn't actively carry pieces of real gold.
guys, the money that would have gone into gold is in Bitcoin. So
That's fair. That's fair.
Sorry, I derailed you.
I just have to take out my ledger and I just start slicing parts of my ledger off. Is this the same?
Yeah.
But also, unfortunately, my mustache doesn't really do much better past this point. Sad.
No, never bearish. Okay, so but distinguishing the two assets, you can't just shave gold.
Right. But so that's what I mean. Just I think turning staking on for the ETFs would really draw like, hey, this is a network. This is like a place where businesses can live and grow and build and earn revenue. This asset is like tokenized digital oil that powers this new money internet era, whatever. All these things that are built on it, blah, blah, like all the stuff, right? The fact that it is a yield bearing asset, I mean, you guys are sick of hearing me say it, but we have to turn staking on for those ETPs. We just have to.
Yeah. That would really distinguish them in the mind of traditional investors too, because they're not going out to buy ETH crypto. They are having their money manager, or as a hedge fund, they are noticing these are the two crypto products you're basically allowed to buy. That's like it. For all intents and purposes, those are their options. That's what's on the menu. And why would they buy ETH in a world where they could buy Bitcoin? Unless it does this other novel thing that distinguishes it as an asset. And I looked up her remark, and she has indicated the inclusion. What a great spoonerism. She's included that staking is open consideration, and that she personally would hope that staking of the Ethereum spot ETF would be reconsidered. So I gotta say, that's pretty bullish. And also, I hope we can get her back on the show again too. That's on our menu for 2025. I didn't, I know it's on the table, but we haven't firmed it up yet. So look forward to that. Bullish stuff.
Really quick, there's a comment on TikTok from Quinny just asking, do we send out friend requests or is it a scam?
No.
Great opportunity to point out that none of us, as much as we love you, will ever reach out to you first, or will ever send you a friend request on Discord or anything else, or invite you to Telegram or WhatsApp or get your phone number. None of that. It's never us. It is always a scam. And really, truly, the only thing you can do is just block the person. They can't do anything to you if you just block them or ignore them. The other day, I sat there and I wasted a bunch of time from an Evan and a Casey Craig impersonator. That's kind of fun. If you've been around the block, a public service you can do to help the newer people is to take up those people's time and just clog them up. Because I feel like at this point, I can pretty confidently say that most of them are actually run by humans, just trying to steal.
Yes, they are, which is fun.
So you can screw with them and waste their time, but it's never us. The only things that we will ever do in a DM is respond if someone messages these three profiles. If you message me, I will try to get back to you, but my DMs are a hellscape, as I'm sure Evan and Will's are as well. So the Discord server is it, and we will only communicate with you in public in Discord. And to Joe's point, the best thing you can do in Discord is turn off your DMs. It's in your user settings under privacy. You can toggle off direct messages from everyone. And that is really, truly the best.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
Best thing that you can do.
And if you know that or anything else in the Discord, like that would be a great way to send us a comment, or even you can Google it. But if you can't comment, we'll help you out. I will say I have added a couple people back. But mostly they're people that we've talked to in Discord for a long time, or who come to the show every day or something like that.
But
Go ahead.
You accepted a friend request. We're
Yeah,
not
I
sending
accepted
out
a
friend
friend
requests.
request.
No.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I accepted it, and I do that primarily because if we're in contact, I want you to know me from everyone else because they're going to be reaching out to you, and you know can have a bad day and fall for it.
And hey,
But,
if they
you know.
don't ban TikTok, use these people to get yourself in the creator fund.
Yeah, my God, what a great hack!
You can-
Don't say we never did anything for you,
Yeah,
folks.
right. Exactly.
And one last reminder that if you want to get in touch with us, the real best way to do it is at the Discord server, discord.gg/riseup. You can find all kinds of stuff there. And the only thing with more stuff than the Discord server that's easier to navigate is the riseupmorningshow.com. I'll tell you something that the morning show website has that the server doesn't is a link to buy the best mug in the business, the official Rise Up Morning Show mug, the official mug of the financial revolution. Makes your coffee or tea taste better. And if I do say so myself, I think it makes you look better when you're on a screen at Monday o'clock any morning. So, you know, and hey, if you're a Premium Plus member and you haven't gotten your free mug yet, call me because you get a free mug. For
I gotta get one. I
know.
will get the mug when it has the new brand.
Well, and also I do really want
That's coming.
to. I want to get Will a Ghoul because even with the new brand, we got to make a Will Ghoul. All I can imagine is Kaio doing a Will Ghoul that just has the world's hardest jawline. Like a ghoul with a chiseled jaw would make me so happy, and I have to see that and get it on a mug. But that would be a limited edition 1-of-1 mug.
Can I go?
A limited. Oh, that'd be valuable.
Oh yeah, I only have my goal on one mug too. It's a 1-of-1, baby.
I just saw that in the past 12 hours, 420-ish. It's not exactly 420, but it's essentially $420 million were liquidated from the crypto market.
Damn, son. Here for the memes.
But that's an interesting point. Maybe so. I know that we're nearing the wind down here, but two things. One, Will, I'm curious, and I'm also asking because I don't really know, but I've seen this talked about a little bit. Isn't that a thing? Like usually, you know, when you wipe out a huge amount of liquidations to the up or the downside, that usually it opens up new liquidity pockets in the opposite direction, and then the market is inclined to at least go to that spot to crush out that. So like all the people opening short positions right now would get theoretically squeezed out, you know, if it swung back up a certain percentage. And if you were going to manipulate a market, that's probably what you would aim for.
Yep, that's exactly what you do. That's how the big boys make the big bucks.
One good shout out. I know Josh posts videos with this chart all the time with the liquidity heat map. That's a really interesting chart to look at where you can see where those pockets live. But I keep meaning to text him every time he does it and be like, Josh, where the hell does that chart come from? Because he never tells me.
I've never seen that anywhere else except on his page too. And I wonder if it's CoinGlass.
Text Josh and ask him.
Text Josh.
But Will, I know I would make this my semi last thought. There was a really good question, like what's your go-to for staking, which I would like to expand just to DeFi in general, because when markets are boring, I tend to focus really hard on my DeFi plays because I can kind of set stuff up at a discount. Actually, let me fact check myself before I say this out loud, because usually, brother,
fact check yourself, brother.
Fact
check yourself, brother.
Interest rates on Aave go up when
Alex is becoming an Aave
down.
maxi, and I'm here for it.
And it's accurate. They are up. So USDC supply APY on Aave is 8.62% right now.
Ooh.
Meaning,
yeah.
So if that was Greek, if you have USDC, which is a stable coin pegged to the US dollar, and you would like to earn 8.62% APY or interest on it, you can do that on Aave. And that is a really cool way to mess with DeFi without having to buy a volatile asset. So it's less risky. There is still risk involved for sure, but it is much less risky than like buying a volatile asset that goes up and down and then also trying to earn yield off of that thing. And usually when sell-offs happen, people pull liquidity out, which means there's fewer people supplying, which means they pay a premium for it, which is why I love paying attention to DeFi protocols when the market is reddish. You can calm down, earn some interest, cover yourself a little bit, park some stable coins there and like wait until you feel better about something. And usually you get paid better for it than you do if you're trying to stake when everything is super green.
I want to shout out Aave because they are one of the oldest DeFi protocols in terms of just
And the biggest.
doing it all.
And they're still super relevant.
They're still super relevant. AAVE, like African American vernacular English, Aave, but they're French. So it's different. And they are a great protocol with many tutorials that people have made with a huge community. And it's something that if you want to dip your toes, like Alex said, and you need help, a lot of people in the Rise Up Discord server could probably answer a question for you, but there are so many opportunities to start practicing what your banks do every day to earn yield on your money and be your own bank. This really is a good time to start learning, but I'm not going to be staking my assets except for maybe a small bit of USDC that I'm kind of adding to over time until I feel like we're in a bear market, because I don't want to be in the situation that I'm staking something or lending something, whatever, with a lockup period. That's why right now, in case I need to sell it. Right now, I'm in a position over on Morpho just to try out the protocol and earn a little more Morpho token. That is, it's a liquidity pool that is a lending pool. So I can lend my tokens so that other people who want to borrow them can just, apply and borrow them or whatever. And it's USDC, and it's operated by a provider called Stakehouse Finance. And it looks like just a bunch of degenerates who are kind of math nerds, and their collateral looks really good, but they have like between 10 and 17% APY in the last 45 days. And that's about how old they are. They're kind of new, but they launched on Morpho. And what I like especially about it is you can withdraw anytime. So there's no lockup period. So there's some pretty juicy yields out there if you're staying on top of it that aren't terribly risky. Not bad to look at.
That risk is a sliding scale, right? So like
Totally.
there are super, there are low yield opportunities and really high yield opportunities. And as the yield percentage increases, usually so does the risk.
Yep.
I mean, there are places you can earn 500% APY, but you're playing in a house of cards that, a strong wind will knock down. So
yeah,
you got to be careful.
I would be curious to know if anybody who was staking in Hyperliquid a couple of months ago on that 40% APY USDC on Arbitrum pool, how that played out. I haven't made the time to go look it up since I heard about it, but like that was wild. I was like, wow, that looks like a good pool. I would love to keep answering questions all day, but it is about that time. We got to take our dogs and ponies on the road. So we're not going yet, but leave your last question in the comments and let this be a notice to you. If you haven't yet, jump in the Discord server, discord.gg/riseup. And then don't forget, we're going to be back tomorrow. We're here Monday through Thursday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. And this week on Rise Up After Dark, which is Wednesdays at 7 p.m., we are going to be hosting Finn and Abril of Abstract. Abstract.xyz if you want to play at home. They are the chain that is hoping to actually onboard the next billion people via consumer crypto applications. You might know them from their affiliation with Igloo, Pudgy Penguins. Have you seen the recent Pengu airdrop? And so we're going to ask them about all things Pengu, about Abstract, about the wallet they're launching, the social network they're launching, and maybe get them to leak some alpha. So shout out to Alex for bagging that cool conversation. If you're interested in that, you definitely want to join us Wednesday night.
And just for anyone who's curious or interested about that, they are currently collecting interest and names for content creators and streamers specifically for Abstract streaming platform. We're definitely looking into and talking about that. So if you are a streamer or content creator, I encourage you to look into that as well. And you can get all of the information from Finn himself, because he's in charge of most of that. So couldn't have a better person to ask questions to. So if you want to know anything about all that, bring the questions when Finn's here. And there, and we'll be able to ask them some technical questions too, because Abril is a developer engineer.
Is it Abril or Abril? I assumed
it's
it was
probably
Abril.
It's probably Abril. I'm not sure. I have never spoken to her. I've only seen her name written, and I'm awful at pronouncing.
Well, that'll be good. We'll get their names in the StreamYards,
How
and
embarrassing.
we'll we'll figure it out. Well, I never got to answer your question, and I kind of want to make my final thought answering your question about you talked about the inauguration on January 20th.
Oh, right.
People
I
are
was like
speculating. I'll be very quick. This is my final thought is if I have a Magic 8 Ball that says, damn it, it says sell the news.
that says, damn it.
And I actually am kind of, it was giving me that corner. You know how 8 Balls do. It said sell the news. And that's honestly the perfect response because I am kind of thinking there's going to be a little red candle. I don't expect that Donald Trump on the 20th is going to be like, hang on, please stop inaugurating crypto. You know what I mean? I just don't think that's going to happen. I think there are a lot of things he's got to do before he gets to that. I think he's going to use the inaugural crypto ball where he, JD Vance, David Sachs will all be in the room together on the 17th in Washington, D.C. to do some signaling in order to hype us up and then clear his schedule of crypto stuff probably for the next couple of weeks while he addresses wildfires and critical funding for aid and tariffs.
Greenland.
There's
also,
so
I
much.
want us to buy Greenland so goddamn badly.
Oh my God.
It won't
I
happen.
would,
it'll be some
you know.
kind of like economic agreement that comes into place. But oh god,
I feel like it was a Far Side cartoon
so
from the
stupid.
1970s. It was a map of
I don't
the-
think
the
it's stupid.
globe.
I think it's great.
It's obnoxiously stupid.
I mean, it's something.
I
There
think
was
it's
a ma-
awesome. I mean, threatening possible military action is a step too far, but the having the conversation of having some kind of economic and military policies put in place that are to the benefit of America and use of Greenland would be fantastic for us.
I just hate that the opening to that conversation, which may or may not be something strategically beneficial, is to just take a shit on them as a nation and just be like, hey, you're nothing that you want or say matters. We're just gonna buy you. It's like you could just work with them. I'm sure we have something that we could offer and make this beneficial to both people. The attitude to just be like buy is obnoxiously stupid.
You know what? From an empire building standpoint, I do like the stupid move, though.
Yeah. Sure.
well-
who is he emulating?
I will buy you. I will buy you.
Yep.
I will buy you.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to read Greenland's response letter. Tori mentioned it in the comments, and I haven't seen it. I
Well,
would
the
be
latest
interested to see it.
news is that the Greenland's prime minister is willing to have a conversation with Trump about it, but you know it also involves the Danes, because Denmark technically does own it. But Greenland's prime minister is willing to have conversations with Trump. I mean, like it makes sense because here's the thing.
Could you
from
imagine if he
Greenland's
just
standpoint.
cut Denmark out and was like, no,
That'd
we're
be
just,
hilarious.
what are you
But
gonna do, Denmark? Oh,
The thing is
no.
Greenland is an ally of ours, obviously, and so is Denmark and NATO and member of NATO. The thing is Denmark and Greenland cannot take advantage of Greenland's position well enough to the benefit of the general NATO alliance, whereas the United States does from a military and economic standpoint to the defense of NATO against China and Russia. So it's only really the United States that can get the most out of it, but Greenland doesn't want to not be Greenland, right? They want to be, ideally they want to be independent is what they've said, but the Danish won't allow that to happen. So like, you know, there's going to be some kind of deal that goes through that enables the NATO alliance to have stronger security, both economically and militarily in Greenland and those Arctic waters. The United States won't buy Greenland, but those services will be provided by the U.S. empire. And there'll be a deal put in place that somehow appeases all three and still allows the NATO alliance. Because it is to the benefit of Greenland and Denmark and the NATO alliance to allow the United States to do certain things in there. I just don't know what that's going to look like.
My only point is that opening that conversation by being a rash bully is stupid. And
Yeah,
I'll die on
but-
that hill.
Yeah, I mean, you can die on that hill because get ready to die on that hill at least 7,000 more times for the next 4 years.
Will, I've been languishing and dying on hills for my entire life.
I know you
Fortunately,
have.
for when
You
Alex
love-
is
you
feeling
love
tired,
hills. Alex loves hills.
Absolutely dying.
I've got soundboard Alex,
I
and he'll be
live
dying
on
on
the
this hill
hill.
all day.
I live on the hill.
Alex
Literally
yearns
hill.
for the hill.
I do
Yeah.
need to. I do need to wrap it up here.
Yeah, I do too.
Unfortunately.
That was my final thought. Give me your final thought. Is Greenland your final thought?
No, I can't go out like that. No, I'm just I'm excited for this week. I really truly hope that this is not our last week broadcasting the show on TikTok, but I guess we'll see.
We will see. We'll know pretty soon. Next few days.
Regardless, I know that it truly is a lot to ask to like pivot, from what you're used to. But if you find this helpful and if you enjoy what we do and if you would like to continue to watch the show itself is not going anywhere, and will be continuing to broadcast on X, YouTube, LinkedIn, all of those places. You can find us there, and all of us have links in all of our bios to take you to all of those places.
And the comment just came in from Hov that YouTube is so much better. I will say we are better there in widescreen. You can watch us on your TV. And when Alex does the screen share, you don't see it in like a tiny little shaky window that I'm holding up here on TikTok. You actually see it in high definition.
There is something endearing about watching Evan struggle to
I love
his
it.
phone pointed at the screen share as I show things. And then I've also never given him a warning when I'm going to turn it off. I just always rug him.
Yeah. 30,000 people watch our show every week. We get millions of recorded views, and we're over here, doing a screen share. So 2025 is the year we upgrade our setup and everything else. And Will, the final thought then is yours, man. What do you have to say? What do you have to say for yourself?
The California wildfires are also good for Bitcoin.
Oh my God. Wow, look at this cute little dragon we just got. Aren't you going to miss that?
Oh no, I will.
Anything to distract us from your terrible PR.
My terrible PR. So, the LA fires, right? Well, it will also cause unemployment to go up, which will be good for Bitcoin's price. And people lost their seed phrases probably. So that means there's more Bitcoin supply that's locked up. So it's also good for Bitcoin's price, everybody. You heard it here first.
And just before TikTok was banned, we got canceled. Truly,
don't worry, guys. Wonderful. Everything is good for Bitcoin. Just remember,
everything is good for Bitcoin. That is honestly the truest thing we said all day. So, my friends, we got to go. We're taking our dogs and ponies into the sunset, and thank you for wasting another perfectly good hour, like they used to say, with us. We will see you again tomorrow, and in the Discord server. What happened, Will?
Stock market opened up real bad.
Well, then jump in the Discord and we're going to talk about it. Discord.gg/riseup, back here at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow and all the rest of the week. We can't wait to see you then. Stay safe.